nice to see you. You're looking great today. Thank you for connecting with us today. My friend Hannah is joining me. Can you send a high five in the comments and make her feel welcomed?
And you at home, tell us who's watching. Do me a favor and click that share button now. And let your friends know we are live.
This summer, we're looking at what it means to take a closer look and focus. We're finding out what it means to have faith. Faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. It's like our faith in God. We can't see Him, but we still trust in Him.
I'm so thankful that we can trust God no matter what. Even when we can't fully see His plan, we can always trust that He is always for us. Listen to what the Apostle Paul wrote about Jesus in his letter to the Colossians. Before anything was created, He was already there. He holds everything together. Colossians 1:17. Let's focus on the one who holds everything together.
This is my faith, this is my focus, all of my days. I know where my hope is, I'll live it loud, I'll shout the chorus, because I know, oh, you're always for us. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you. This is my faith, this is my focus, all of my days. I know where my hope is, I'll live it loud, I'll shout the chorus, because I know, oh, you're always for us. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And even when it's hard for me to see, I will trust in you, I will believe. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you, oh yeah. Woo! You ready? Come on, let's go. Hands in the air, hands in the air. I know you're there, anywhere, oh. Anywhere. I fix my eyes on you. Hands in the air, hands in the air. I know you're there, anywhere. I fix my eyes on you. And keep on looking to you for where I'm going, knowing you go there too. I'll keep on looking to you. I'll fix my eyes on you. You are my only, you are my only focus. You are my only focus. I fix my eyes on you.
I love that we can come together every week and learn more about the God who made everything and who made our hearts to know His love. I want to know God more, and I'm thankful that we can do that together.
You made the sky above, you made the oceans deep. First, grab a sheet of cardstock paper and a white crayon or a candle. Place the watercolor supplies nearby so they are ready to use. If you're an older kid, try writing a couple of words about a situation you've experienced where you weren't sure how things would turn out, such as moving to a new home, staying over at a friend's house, or being in a new class or with a new teacher. Make sure you press down hard so you can get the best results. When you are finished writing or drawing, color over the picture with the watercolors in any style you want. As the watercolors dry, the wax will resist the water and reveal the drawing underneath. If you are a younger kid, you can write your name or draw a self-portrait. We all have things in life that we are a little unsure about. Not afraid exactly, but just not sure of how they'll turn out. There are disappointments and changes in everyone's life, kind of like these pictures you started out with. But what happened when we painted over them? I think this is a great example of how knowing Jesus changes how we see everything. Knowing Jesus gives us the faith we need to see our situations colored with love, joy, or peace. We can choose to be joyful or to forgive others, or to keep going because of what Jesus did for us.
Good news! We have the chance to get to know God more right now. You guys can take a seat.
In the book of Acts, in the Bible, we read the story of a man named Saul. Saul was also known as Paul. When he was a young man, Saul went to Jerusalem to study with the famous Rabbi Gamaliel.
Like many of the religious leaders at that time, Saul believed that he was closer to God because of how closely he followed God's rules. He carefully studied God's law. Like other religious leaders in Jerusalem, Saul was caught off guard by Jesus. Saul and the other leaders were very upset that Jesus claimed to be God's son. Jesus had died on the cross, but his followers said that he had returned to life and that they had actually seen him alive.
This week's Bible story is titled Suddenly I See, and it's found in the book of Acts, chapter 9, verse 1. Paul becomes a believer.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Acts, chapter 9, verses 1 through 9.
If anyone was set up for the good life, it was Saul of Tarsus.
Greetings.
Though Saul's family was Jewish, he was also born a Roman citizen. Throughout his life, he was known by two different names.
You may call me Saul or Paul.
As a young man, Saul was sent to Jerusalem to study with the famous Rabbi Gamaliel.
Let's see. You have achieved 100% in classical literature, 111% in philosophy, and in ethics, 99%.
I vow to do better.
Saul became a Pharisee like his father before him. He carefully studied God's law and prayed 3 times a day.
Dear God, help me follow your laws 100% perfectly.
Like the other religious leaders in Jerusalem, though, Saul was caught off guard by the events that surrounded the life and death of Jesus.
Good riddance. Now that fool can't try to overturn God's laws anymore.
Haven't you heard? Jesus' follower says he's returned to life.
They've seen Jesus?
They've seen Jesus.
Those riffraff will slink away soon enough.
Against all odds, the followers of Jesus didn't fade away. In fact, the numbers began to grow.
5,000? You're telling me that 5,000 people are following the way of a dead man?
Well, technically, they think he's alive.
Not helping.
The religious leaders in Jerusalem did everything they could to squash the new movement. They even arrested a leader among the Jesus followers named Stephen. After telling lies about him, they dragged him outside the city.
This man is a disgrace.
Saul stood by and held the coats of the men, who picked up stones and threw them at Stephen, until they killed him.
If Stephen had just let go of this Jesus nonsense, he wouldn't have had to die.
It's terrible. I heard people are following the way of Jesus in other cities too.
What? Inconceivable.
Saul quickly became known for hunting down people who believed in Jesus. When he discovered that some Jews in Damascus were following Jesus, he went straight to the high priest.
This Jesus thing is spreading everywhere.
I'm aware.
They think he's alive.
Hashtag yup.
Someone should do something.
I hope you have something constructive to say.
Give me letters to the synagogues in Damascus so I can arrest all the believers and bring them back here.
Now you're talking.
Saul set off for Damascus with the blessing of the high priest. He traveled with a group of men to arrest the believers they found. After days on the road, they neared the city.
There it is.
We'll make it by lunch.
No, we must take time to pray.
As he did 3 times every day, Saul stopped and turned to Jerusalem to pray, certain God was on his side.
Dear Lord, help me to catch every single one of those despicable Jesus people.
Suddenly, a light more brilliant than the midday sun blazed down around Saul. He staggered, fell to the ground, squeezing his eyes shut against the glare.
Saul, why are you opposing me?
Saul gasped. It felt as though the whole earth shifted beneath him.
Who are you, Lord? I am Jesus. I am the one you are opposing.
The men around Saul stared in horror and confusion, unable to speak. They could see no one, but heard a sound, perhaps like a roar of thunder.
Now get up and go into the city. There you will be told what you must do.
Saul reeled. He struggled to his feet and finally opened his eyes. He saw nothing, only darkness.
What's happened?
You tell us. We saw the light, and you fell, and this sound, and then you said...
I can't see.
What?
I can't see. I've been blinded.
That's not good. Here, take my hand.
Saul grasped the man's hand and shuffled a few steps forward.
Who were you talking to?
I think it was Jesus.
You heard Jesus?
I heard Jesus.
Saul's companions led him into Damascus, where he stayed at the home of a man named Judas on Straight Street.
Want something to eat?
I'm not hungry.
Or water?
Not thirsty.
For 3 days, Saul wrestled with himself and God. He'd come face to face with the very man he knew was dead, but discovered that Jesus was very much alive. Now blind, Saul was forced to see everything in a brand new light.
Throughout God's story, God has helped all sorts of people understand who He is.
From the Garden of Eden, where he walked with Adam and Eve, to all of the ways he showed up in the lives of people. From Abraham to David to the disciples, God has shown people who he really is.
God even opened Saul's eyes in a pretty dramatic way. Saul had spent his life up until then trying to stop the message of Jesus, but now he could see the truth that Jesus really was God's son.
You see, knowing Jesus changes the way you see everything. God opens our eyes too, in lots of different ways, and helps us look at our life from His point of view. For example, When you know Jesus, you might see how the things that seem bad right now could be used for something good.
Sometimes God speaks to us through experiences, like maybe you're at the park on a sunny day and you notice the beautiful world God created, and you feel closer to Him than you ever have before. Or maybe you hear a song about God that teaches you something new about Him. Or you might have a friend who always shows you God's love.
But however you get to know Jesus better, it's always worth it because knowing Jesus changes the way you see everything. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of IDV Kids.
Don't forget to click that share button below so others too can see this message.
Have a great week. Bye.